I'm Dan Humiston, and on today's show, we have a third-generation marketing guy who is combining patented technology and using unconventional product-to-market channels to create one of the only CBD brands that are exclusive to the medical cannabis market. Let's join my conversation with Dean Harris from TabBrands. Hello, Dean. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Before we talk about TabBrands, I read in your bio that your family has been in the marketing industry for 3 generations. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
How many generations have there been marketing?
Probably 4. Formal marketing in the United States probably started in the late 1800s. And the first person in my family to be in marketing was my grandfather, who started an advertising agency in New York City in 1922. And then my father had a direct marketing agency. My wife and I had an advertising agency. And I actually have 2 kids. One's in marketing and one has an advertising agency.
So you're 4th generations now.
Well, 4 generations, yeah.
It's like Mad Men.
Yeah, my father was sort of from the Mad Men era. I was kind of post-Mad Men myself.
Oh, that's great. Well, let's jump into this. TabBrands. I just taken this right. It's a patent pending effervescent tab, hence the name, that delivers CBD to medical marijuana patients. So let's start right off with, tell us what an effervescent tab is and how does it work?
Sure. Well, we have what in effect is an effervescent delivery system.
Okay.
So the idea is, how do you deliver an active ingredient? In our case, we're doing both CBD and something called THCA, which is a non-psychotropic form of cannabis. How do you deliver it efficiently, quickly, and discreetly and with good taste? So we figured out how to do it using an effervescent tablet technology and an effervescent powder. Essentially, you place the tablet in any liquid, hot or cold. The tablets are very small and discreet. They're about the size of a Benadryl. Place it in any liquid, hot or cold. It dissolves instantly, and it takes on the flavor of that liquid.
Okay.
We also have a CBD powder, which in effect is our CBD formula, but in an untableted form. And that powder is actually being used as an ingredient for many products, pretty much anything that's water soluble. So CBD beverages can contain our powder, which is water soluble, and in a way of delivering CBD efficiently using CBD that's non-nano infused.
I can see where that's going to be huge. Wow.
Yeah, we really have only been in the CBD side of the business for less than 2 months. It's been exploding, in large part because CBD is so popular due to the change in the U.S. Farm Bill at the end of 2018. CBD is a market that's really interesting. It's huge. But from a marketing perspective, which is certainly one of the ways I look at it, CBD has been marketed all over the place. I mean, there are all sorts of incredibly unrealistic claims. And we feel that if we can present it in a professional, transparent, and interesting way, we can create a brand that really breaks through.
Yeah. I mean, I love your brand strategy. And one of my favorite sayings when it comes to brands is you always want to be narrow and deep. And you've elected to put all your TabBrand eggs into the medical cannabis market. I really think that that's a great approach. Explain to our audience, though, why you made that decision.
Sure. Well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one, we started in cannabis with this THCA brand that we told you about called Tab Relief. And we looked at the market, and the market for medical cannabis in the United States was around $7 billion, and there were no medical cannabis brands. And we felt that if somebody was serious about using cannabis for medical purposes, they wanted a brand that delivered efficacy. Many of the brands either have a celebrity name or essentially are variants of getting you high or higher. And we don't think that that's what medical patients want. In fact, it's interesting. There was a study recently done by the University of Michigan, and it said that of people that use medical cannabis, roughly 44% of them have tried some sort of prescribed pharmaceutical. And for one reason or another, it hasn't worked. It's had a side effect, et cetera. So they've then moved to medical cannabis. Mm-hmm. So our sense is, from a competitive standpoint, our competition are prescribed pharmaceuticals rather than other cannabis brands.
And then you have the market all to yourself. What'd you say?
Yeah, $7 billion with no brands is pretty good. You know, as a marketing branding guy, I mean, that turns me on big time. And then, of course, there's another reason too, and that's that for those of us that are working on this is really purpose driven. I mean, we really want to do good for people. And we think that having a medical cannabis brand aligns more closely with our philosophy. And one of the things we find fascinating is that the need for medical cannabis, or CBD, which offers health and wellness benefits, is global. Interestingly, with CBD, we don't have the same sort of constraints that we have with cannabis.
Sure.
We don't have the same issues in terms of scale of production or licensing or access to raw materials. So we really think that what we're trying to do is ultimately going to create a global brand rather than a brand just in the United States.
Well, on that same, kind of in that same line is getting your product to market. I also love your sort of out of the box approach to getting your product to the market. You use a conventional method, selling through dispensaries, but you're also in some non-conventional places like senior citizen centers and assisted living centers.
We think that we can go to places where patients in effect are aggregated, where they need our product, and where there is direct medical supervision. So places like assisted living centers, where essentially everybody who's there has got issues with pain, inflammation, appetite, and in many cases, if they're in the memory loss unit, our products can help there as well. We're selling, in effect, one-to-many rather than one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
And as a marketer, you always want to establish a direct relationship with your consumer. We've got a much greater chance of doing that in places where patients are aggregated. Other places might include opioid treatment centers, pain relief centers, addiction clinics. These are all places where the patient population can use our product, can be aggregated, and we can ship to one place rather than many places. So it's a more efficient way of distributing, and I think also a smarter way of establishing that one-to-one relationship.
And a brand loyalty. If you're the only one there, you're going to get the brand loyalty. Like you said, they're going to recognize your brand over all the other ones because it's established in a facility that sort of warrants trust. I think that's key to this.
Yes, and I also think that we would very much like to make our product, in effect, a subscription product. It's like a prescription where you get it on a monthly basis, and we'd like to be able to sell our product to people on an ongoing basis. So the customer acquisition cost would be once, rather than an acquisition cost that changes every time somebody goes into a dispensary and they have to make an individual decision.
Mm-hmm.
Having that direct relationship and an enduring way of selling to consumers, we think is better for consumers and certainly provides a more profitable model.
I think the technology is really, really exciting. And we didn't talk a ton about it, but I think it's great. And I also think it's great that you're sticking, sort of dancing with the girl that you came with, staying in the market that you want to be in. You're not going to go to different markets and try to be something for everybody. But as far as the tech goes, are there going to be opportunities for people to maybe license your technology?
Yes, absolutely. We do have a licensing model, and we've also tried to build our company to be very lightweight. So the deals that we're doing currently almost entirely represent licensing deals, where we're licensing our tech either under our brand or under other people's brands on a white label basis. And in effect, we're being paid on a royalty basis. So essentially, it's a win-win. It's performance-based. We want them to sell more. And when they sell more, they earn more and we earn more too.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, we've been speaking with Dean Harris, who's the CEO of TabBrands. And we have all of his contact information on our website. So if anybody wants more information, you can just zip onto our website to see this. Dean, really exciting stuff. I'm so glad that you were on the show with us today. Hopefully I can get you back on again as this continues to take off.
That would be great. Thanks so much for having me on, and I look forward to hearing the podcast myself.
Well, good luck.